In this video, I'll be taking a look at how the 386 computer I built back in the 92 season is holding up, by playing some games released in 1994. But first, a quick look at the computing landscape as it was. Throughout 94, focus for mid-range consumer-grade computers shifted from 33 MHz 46s to clock-doubled 46s, with 66 MHz being established as a new sweet spot. Things were moving fast though, and even at the time, it was obvious that a shiny new 46DX266 would be obsolete in no time. The Pentium had been out for a while, and it was actually available now. Prices were coming down, but they were still out of reach for most consumers, and even for a lot of businesses. Which was probably for the better, as an FPU bug was discovered in 94, which Intel initially claimed would only affect a small number of nerds. Scientists and researchers. Maybe 20 of them worldwide. Over a few months, this all unraveled, and by December, Intel had promised to replace every Pentium chip sold, no questions asked. About $500 million that cost them. Anyway, in addition to this, the Pentium successor, the P6, was on the horizon, which this guy guessed would be called the Hexium. Comparing all of this to my own system, it's mainly the CPU and video performance that is lagging behind. Although 386DX systems with basic VGA adapters still form the very low-end segment. Most systems aimed at consumers still ship with 4 MB of RAM, so I'm doing pretty well in that regard. I also got a large hard drive from the start, which is now more of a mainstream spec. The CD-ROM hype was showing no sign of dying down, and the number of titles available on CD-ROM exploded during 94. With single-speed CD-ROM drives off the market, my Mitsumi drive is starting to look a little bit dated. Most games did however still have a 3.5-inch floppy disk release. The only game I was curious about that would be no point even trying on my computer was System Shock. Aside from desktops, 94 was also the year where laptops really started taking off. Not as a computer in its own right, but as a powerful complement to your desktop. Some of them even got multimedia capabilities, like active matrix TFT displays and CD-ROM drives. On the console side, the main competition in Sweden was still the Super Nintendo and still the Mega Drive. The Sega CD was out, but it hadn't really made a huge splash, and the CD-ROM multimedia consoles like the CDI and Amiga CD32 didn't really make much of an impact either. The PlayStation was gaining some hype, but it wouldn't be released here during 94, and neither was the 3DO, whose potential was starting to be questioned. And in the meantime, the Sega Saturn was a bit of an upcoming wild card in the background. The upcoming Nintendo console was talked about quite a bit, but still was far away. And Nintendo meanwhile had declared that 1994 would be the year of the cartridge. And despite Commodore's bankruptcy, Amiga users were still around, and Mac users were in for an exciting time with the PowerPC processors, but that's out of scope for this video. Before I get into the games, however, I need to do something that is all too familiar to anyone who had a computer in the 90s or aughts. I'm out of disk space, so I need to clear out a bunch of old games to make space for new ones. With that out of the way, let's get started. First up is the fluffy action platformer we all know and love, Fury of the Furries. Wait, wrong one. Just Jackrabbit. Yeah, that's the one. Next up is SimCity 2000, the city simulator sequel we've all been waiting for. It took 17 years, but the budget is finally balanced. Next up is Beneath a Steel Sky, a point-and-click adventure game set in a dystopian future.
Sensors detect incoming audio source.
The evil is nearly here.
It sounded more like a copter than a demon. But the next thing, all hell let loose anyway.
Run, Foster, run! Hide from the evil!
Foster! Help! Better make my next body move faster, Foster.
He was only a robot. Oh, I love the little guy.
Who's up there? You won't escape that way!
Welcome back, Joey. Is this the best shell you could find? Listen, we're in deep trouble. You've turned me into a vacuum cleaner. Some oven. Wonder what's cooking. That thing's watching me. Good thing I'm naturally photogenic.
How do I get down to ground level?
Take the elevator, or the big jump if you're desperate. Look, I'm not supposed to talk to you.
Why not?
Supervisor's orders.
I'm transferring you, lass.
I wish you wouldn't call me that. My name is Anita.
Don't answer back, woman. Report to the testing room immediately. What are you doing here?
Next up is Raptor, Call of the Shadows, a shareware top-down scrolling shooter game thing. Next up is Superhero League of Hoboken, an RPG adventure game set in a different type of dystopian future. And finally, Alone in the Dark 2, a sequel to the survival horror game. Although this time you're not alone and neither is it dark.
Morning, sir.
But I think that will do for this video. Check back next week when I'll be having a look at Windows and its multimedia capabilities. Until then, thank you for watching.